I went down a road that only got me nowhere. I've seen every corner, every inch of this place. Being all alone, it really got me thinking, maybe overthinking that what is lost ain't mine. I know you can't just let go, cause it's a part of you that will make you strong. Embrace your thoughts. I'm not gonna fight back what I've become. Yeah, I got bruises where I came from, but I wouldn't change if I could restart. I ain't gonna fight these beautiful scars. I've been going places out of myself. Guess that is the reason I've been feeling like hell, but I wouldn't change if I could restart. I ain't gonna fight these beautiful scars. Fight these beautiful scars. My deepest, oh yeah, tears don't fail. Sing it done. Trust me, darling. Trust me, darling. Spend this year I've been refused to be fake. Got tears. Trust me, darling. Trust me, darling. Look me in the eyes. Tell me what you see. Perfect paradise. Tearing at the seams. I wish I could escape. I don't wanna beg. Wish I could erase. Make you I believe it. I'm a bad liar. Bad liar. Now you know. Now you know. I'm a bad liar. Bad liar. Now you know. You're free to go. Look me in the eyes, tell me what you see. Perfect paradise, tearing at the seams. I wish I could escape. I don't wanna beg. Wish I could erase it. Make it I believe it. I'm a bad liar. Bad liar. Now you know. Now you know. I'm a bad liar. Bad liar. Now you know. You're free to go. I'm a bad liar. I'm a bad I dream every one thing. This night, now they're ready. Go out and ask him problems. I wait my world inside, see my guns and decide. Go out and ask him problems. Look me in the eyes, tell me what you see. Perfect paradise, tearing at the seams. I wish I could escape. I don't wanna beg. Wish I could erase it. Make it I believe it. I'm a bad liar. Bad liar. Now you know. Now you know. I'm a bad liar. Bad liar. Now you know. You're free to go. I'm a bad liar.
إلى أي مدى يمكن للمستقبل أن يبهرنا؟
وكيف يمكننا تحقيق المزيد من الأهداف معا؟
هل نستطيع مواصلة التقدم دون أن نحدث قرارا؟
هل نستطيع الزراعة بأساليب أكثر ابتكارا؟
هل نستطيع أن نتطور ونحافظ على مواردنا الطبيعية؟
هل نستطيع تطوير قدراتنا؟
هل نستطيع تنشئة أبطال الغد؟
هل نستطيع تعزيز مفهوم الابتكار؟
وتوفير تعليم من أي مكان.
هل نستطيع العيش في منازل تلائم نمط حياتنا؟
ومدن تحاكي ذكاؤنا؟
هل نستطيع تحويل التحديات إلى إنجازات؟ معا نستطيع.
away, come to her. Pinapili ko ikaw akong nakikipan. Kahit ang gusto mong itawa, sa magkakong away, come to her. Pinapili ko kung ikaw akong nakuban, mawala kita kung mga problema. Sige na makitaan akong panganda. Pinapili ko kung ikaw akong nakikipan. Kahit ang gusto mong itawa, sa magkakong away, come to her. May ako. Sige na makitaan akong panganda. Pinapili ko kung ikaw akong nakikipan. Kahit ang gusto mong itawa, sa magkakong away, come to her. May ako.
أنا عندي مواصفات تقدم دون أن
هل نستطيع الزراعة بأسهل الكتابة؟
هل نستطيع أن نحافظ على الموارد الطبيعية؟
هل نستطيع تطوير قدراتنا؟
هل نستطيع إنشاء
هل نستطيع تعزيز مفهوم الابتكار؟
هل يستطيع العيش في منازل تلائم نمط حياتنا؟
الذكاء. هل نستطيع تحويل التحديات إلى إنجازات؟ نعم نستطيع.
Those on my corner, they can smile at you. I like you for the world, they know, but don't be scared. 'Cause I'm falling deeper, baby, bigger. I like you, girl, I like you, there's nothing really. Wish I could just so I can always be there. I love you for so long, sometimes it's hard to say. After all this time, I hope you wait and I don't know how. to wait and see.
هل نستطيع الزراعة في أسفل البحر؟
هل نستطيع أن نروى ونحافظ على الأرض الطبيعية؟
هل نستطيع تطوير قدراتنا؟ هل نستطيع تنشئة أفضلية؟
Thank you to my ex. It's not about the sex, but the breakup was the best. Now I'm stronger, now I'm wiser, now I'm happier because I found a perfect love. Thank you to my ex. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Wake up, don't be break down. Wake up, don't be break down. Wake up, don't be break down. Break down. Thank you to my ex. Wake up, don't be break down. Wake up, don't be break down. Wake up, don't be break down. Break down. Thank you to my ex. Thank you to my ex. It's not about the sex, but the breakup was the best. Now I'm stronger, now I'm wiser, now I'm happier because I found a perfect love. Thank you to my ex. Wake up, don't be break down. You walked out the door. Every day I missed you the more. My heart is breaking, my head is sinking, like never before. You took my heart away. I begged for you to stay. I was going insane. But the money's so big. Now I'm a danger. So sweet and gentle. It's up so great. So I was thinking to myself. Thank you. Wake up, don't be wake up, don't be wake up, don't be now. Thank you to that. Wake up, don't be wake up, don't be wake up, don't be now. Thank you to that. Wake up, don't be wake up, don't be now. Thank you to that. Wake up, Pinudaayo ang atugauban natin kagdagang dalaga din
Suluset iskuhan, makasina
Puti sa pili mga kuyap ko
bilang kas na walang problema.
Mangitag paraan para lang masulbay
Ang
Akay tao ay dinis sa kadapinan Atunaw ka nun para magtipay lipay Labi ng yung isunod at kami kayong
sabay.
Asa na ang mga kapag 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 Kapag Asa na ang mga 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 kapag Pinudaayo mga tugauban natin kagdagang dalaga din
Suluset iskuhan, makasina
Puti sa pili mga kuyap ko
bilang kas na walang problema.
Mangitag paraan para lang masulbay Ang kakay tao ay dinis sa kalapinan Ako nang tanong para magtitay lipay Labi ng yung isugat at kami kayong sabay
Asa na
ang mga bata Asa na
ang mga bata,
Asa na ang mga bata Asa na
DJ Jordan. Beats Club. DJ Jordan.
asa na ang mga bata.
Pinudaayo ang atugauban natin kagdagang dalaga din
Suluset iskuhan, makasina
Puti sa pili mga kuyap ko
bilang kas na walang problema.
Mangitag paraan para lang masulbay Ang kakay tao ay dinis sa kadapinan Atunaw ka nun para magtitay lipay Labi ng yung isugat at kami kayong
Sabay.
Asa na ang mga kapag Asa na
ang mga bata,
Asa na ang mga kapag Asa na
ang mga bata,
kapag Asa na ang mga kapag Asa na
ang mga bata,
Asa na ang mga kapag
ang mga bata.
DJ Jordan.
Pinudaayo mga tugauban natin kagdagang dalaga din
Suluset iskuhan, makasina
Puti sa pili mga kuyap ko
bilang kas na walang problema.
Mangitag paraan para lang masulbay Ang kakay tao ay dinis sa kalapinan Ako nang tanong para magtitay lipay Labi ng yung isugat at kami kayong sabay
Asa na
ang mga bata Asa na
ang mga bata,
Asa na ang mga bata
DJ Jordan. Santiago Beats Club. DJ Jordan. DJ Jordan. Santiago Beats Club. DJ Jordan. Santiago Beats Club. Basta lindo ka, DJ Jordan. DJ Jordan. DJ Jordan. Beat Squad.
멋지다고 잠깐 널 찾아가 아무리 막아도 결국 널 여친구 결국 후회하는데 이제 돌아가 너란 집으로 지금 다시 회귀고
DJ Jordan. Beat Squad.
Soaring prices, massive shortages. What's next? Hi, I'm Chris Hurt here, and if you're like most people, you may have noticed some strange things popping up in the news. Because once again, the word crisis is being thrown around. Yet, this is unlike anything we've seen before. Major automakers, GM and Toyota, are shutting down their factories. Analysts are warning that Christmas, as we know it, may not happen this year. And massive food distributor Cisco says it's going to have trouble stocking grocery store shelves. And this is not because of a recession. It's not because of a virus. Not because of a new lockdown or war, but in fact the very opposite. A new threat which could soon cause empty shelves as far as the eye can see. What exactly is going on? If you're an investor, if you own a home or a business, retired, or you plan to retire anytime soon, it's important that you pay close attention because according to our guest today, the choices you make with your money right now will decide which side of this story you end up on. As you'll see, the last time this happened, investors lost as much as 90% of their money, while the few who knew what was happening and what to do, they had the chance to make 30 times their money in a single year. What exactly is going on? And how can you protect yourself and property? Well, fortunately, we have just the man to help us figure it all out. Jeff Brown, thank you so much for being with us.
Chris, thanks so much. It is great to be here. I'm very excited.
Yeah, we're glad to be with you as Well, folks, if you haven't met Jeff before, he is one of the most trusted tech minds in America. I've met dozens of distinguished guests throughout my television career, and I can say unequivocally that Jeff has made more big calls in the tech market than probably anyone. I hope you don't mind. Can I take a moment to share a bit of your story here? Okay, that's fine. All right, this is good stuff. Jeff Brown, first of all, is an angel investor, which means he backs early stage tech startups. He's done over 230 deals in the world of private technology. He was an early investor in America's largest cryptocurrency exchange, for example, Coinbase, years before it went public. For decades, he also worked as a senior executive at two of the top tech companies in the world. And since 2015, he's been sharing insights with a network of nearly 1.5 million readers. He covered Tesla in 2018 when its stock was still trading at a split of just $59. That's before it soared for 1,400%. Jeff told anyone who would listen to buy Bitcoin when it was just $240. And the folks who did, they had a chance to make 270 times their money. Jeff was writing about 5G long before 5G phones even existed. His firm predicted the dot-com crash in 2000, the housing bubble in 2008. And he has also served in our nation's capital as a member of the Chamber of Digital Commerce in Washington, D.C. Today, he is the founder and editor of one of the most widely read financial research firms in the world. That is Brownstone Research. And we really could not have had it with us at a better time right now because our world is getting crazy, Jeff. Is that fair to say?
Crazy is one word for it. Yes, and that's definitely putting it lightly. And for many people, life is going to get much more strange in the weeks ahead. For investors, as you said, it can be very good if you know what's happening and prepare, or very bad if you ignore it.
Right. Well, given your track record, Jeff, I would encourage viewers to pay close attention because chances are listening to you mean it's gonna work out very good for them.
Well, I am certainly proud of our work, but I'd like to make something very clear. The story I'd like to share with you today, Chris, it's actually not a prediction. This is happening as we speak. The shortages we're seeing today, the soaring prices, the sold out signs, to most people it makes no sense at all. But as a former executive at companies like Qualcomm and NXP Semiconductor, I have seen it happen several times before, each with the same predictable result. So I can tell you with 100% certainty what is happening, what's likely to happen next.
Right. Now, to be fair, this is not just you saying this. I mean, even President Biden seems concerned about it, right?
Well, sure, the president, heads of state, many other countries too, executives, researchers, news outlets, everyone seems to agree. Right? The top tech firms in America all say this is crucial to the technology we see today and tomorrow. Those are their exact words, which is why they just signed an urgent letter to Congress, practically begging them to do something.
Wait, I want to make sure I heard you right. Every major tech company, all on the same page?
That's right. Every company that matters is on this list.
So, yeah, Amazon, Apple, General Electric, Google. Wow, I see what you're saying. These are all household names. But now, what are they all so worried about specifically? And secondly, how can our viewers out there at home put themselves on the right side of this crisis?
Well, for starters, we've got to be just a little curious. We've got to start asking questions and not just accepting what the media tells us, because the last time this happened, the result couldn't have been more extreme. Some investors made 30 times their money while others lost almost everything.
It seems to me that the stakes are they couldn't be much higher. So where do we begin?
Well, the first step for us is to gain simple understanding of what's actually going on and why it matters. This alone will put us far ahead of the pack. By the time we wrap up today, I promise, you'll see the signs around you. So when the rest of the world freaks out, you won't panic. You'll know precisely what's happening and what it means for you. And then, once you get the big picture, I'll share what I think you should do with your money. So what I'd like to do is show a few specific moves your viewers can make today to protect themselves and, of course, the profit.
Sounds terrific, folks. If you're coming in a little bit late, we are talking with Jeff Brown today. This is a man who served as a senior executive at two of the top tech firms in the world, and he's here now to share his next message, which is a new crisis is rippling across the world right now. History suggests that if you have money in the stock market, it could either bring you incredible wealth if you move today, or in a worst case scenario, it's possible you could lose everything. Now, Jeff, you have a particular name for this event. You're calling it a tech shock, right? And this is something unique. It's not the sort of event most of our viewers have seen before, right?
Oh, right, and for good reason. This has nothing to do with any pandemic or natural disaster. I'm not talking about a shutdown, a lockdown, or a quarantine. We really haven't seen an event of this magnitude since the famous oil shock of the 1970s, which, if you remember, was also a supply shock.
Yeah, I do remember. I was just a kid back then, but I do remember huge lines getting gas for the car, stations running dry. So this tech shock that's coming, do you think this could be just as bad, maybe worse?
Well, without a doubt, yes, because this crisis hinges on a single piece of technology that is critical to every electronic device we touch. To most people, it's not obvious, like gasoline. We won't see lines of people waiting to get their hands on it, at least not yet. Until now, it's been largely visible to the public, but that's about to change in a hurry.
Invisible? How so?
This technology is literally out of sight, therefore out of mind, and yet you grasp its power. You'll see it all around us, every moment of every day. Without it, our modern life would grind to a halt. Dozens of entire industries depend on it. Everything from satellite communications to concrete and steel manufacturing to farm machinery to Bitcoin mining. But rather than explain what it is, how about I just show you? I have it right here.
That would be great.
Well, I'm sure you've been wondering what single piece of technology can matter so much that it has the U.S. President, Apple Computer, plus major retail and grocery stores all in it. And it's this tiny square. As you can see, it's much smaller than the tip of my finger.
I see that. It is tiny indeed.
And though it may not look like much, this single piece of technology controls the entire world.
Wow. Okay, so what exactly are we looking at here?
This thing right here on the tip of my finger is something called a semiconductor, otherwise known as a computer chip. From the moment we wake up to the moment we fall asleep, this tiny tech is all around us in any number of ways. From your phone to your laptop to your television and coffee pot to your washing machine and even the oven. From tractors driven by the farmers growing our food to the ventilators at our local hospitals to the missile detection systems monitored by Air Force personnel. Every single one of those devices is controlled by this tiny piece of technology. Get this, there are 3,000 of them in a typical modern car, thousands more in the average fighter jet. And as you may have noticed, there's one big problem.
And that would be?
Well, for all intents and purposes, we've run out of them. Now, I'm sure you've seen these headlines. The Wall Street Journal, CNBC, Bloomberg, Forbes, Business Insider, the Harvard Business Review, and every other major news outlet in the world agree we are in the midst of a global computer chip shortage. As The Guardian puts it, the global shortage of computer chips has reached a crisis point. Intel says this shortage could last for, and I quote, several years.
All right, so this tech shock is about computer chips. I think I'm starting to see where you're going with this, but now, where exactly does the shock part of it come into play?
Well, Chris, we're entering a kind of supply shock unlike anything we've seen before. It may not be obvious to most people, but the effects are popping up everywhere. The most obvious one is this: tech companies can't produce enough consumer products to meet demand. iPhones, tablets, laptops, the latest Xbox and PlayStation 5s, refrigerators, washing machines, alarm clocks, you name it, it's getting harder to manufacture, which for shoppers means harder to find at the store and more expensive if you do find it. In a large part because the largest semiconductor company in the world just jacked up prices by 20%, an unprecedented move.
Wow. Well, it's no secret that prices have been rising at the fastest pace in decades. I think we're all beginning to feel the pinch, so to speak. But now you say it's largely due to these chips in short supply. That is specifically not something.
Well, it's everywhere, and it's actually unavoidable. And you're going to be hearing much more about this in the weeks ahead. Just recently, Tesla had to rewrite the code in its cars to reuse old chips because they literally couldn't find new ones. Their home solar power system, the Powerwall, is being snapped by this chip shortage too.
Wow, Tesla cars, the Powerwall, you've got AI, EVs, and solar power all being hit by this at once. I'm curious, how's Elon Musk taking all of it?
Not well at all. He calls it Tesla's biggest challenge. Imagine that. And says he's never seen anything like it. And that's just one company, Chris. Look at what's happening to the traditional automotive industry. Remember, there are about 3,000 of these chips in a typical car. 3,000 on average. Chris, do you know how many of them need to be missing before production on a car is halted?
I have no idea. I don't know, maybe 100.
Maybe it's just one. The answer is one. Making a car is much like making a cake. You can't bake the cake and add the eggs afterwards. The car takes 3,000 chips and you're missing just one kind of them. That car can literally not be manufactured. The production line stops until the company has every single chip.
Amazing. So this really explains why it's hard to find a new pickup truck these days. GM, for example, I know, kind of alluded to this, they had to shut down every single one of their pickup truck plants due to this chip shortage. Car prices are soaring. I've seen it. Is this to do with the shortage and the production holdup that you're talking about?
Yes. Imagine buying a car, driving it for a few years, and selling it for profit. Imagine that. Normally, that's impossible. I've never seen anything like that in my life before. But thanks to the chip shortage, it's becoming normal. Used cars, in many cases, are selling for more than when they were new.
Jeff, that is, sorry to interrupt, that is crazy. Because you and I both, everybody knows, normally when you drive a new car off the lot, it instantly loses value.
It is crazy. But when you understand what's actually happening, it actually makes sense. Used cars are more expensive because they're ready, they're real, they're running. It's simply supply and demand. Consumers want the cars, they need them, but there's literally no new supply. And the big automakers, this is catastrophic. Ford's profits were cut in half this year. In half, Chris, because they can't assemble their vehicles. It's getting so bad. You can see all of their unfinished cars literally from space. As Barron's puts it, this shortage is killing car stock.
Okay. I think I understand now how this is hitting consumers and cars. But again, think about this. Most people don't have to buy a car all that often, right? I love my iPhone, but I'm not going to upgrade that anytime soon. So I understand why there's a crisis for Ford and GM and maybe a headache for Tesla and Apple. But why is it that you're saying this is a crisis for the rest of us?
Well, look, Chris, I could sit here for hours and walk you through the entire ripple effect of a situation like this. But the simplest way to say it is this. Without a sufficient supply of computer chips, the modern military doesn't even exist. It doesn't even function. Just about everything from the safety of our streets and homes to the items stocked at our local grocery stores to the millions of items filling Amazon's warehouses, it all relies on the semiconductor, on the computer chip. And unfortunately, we gave it all away.
What do you mean by gave it away?
Well, to Asia, to places like South Korea and China and Singapore, the vast majority of these chips are now produced overseas. In fact, one company, just one company based in Taiwan, produces 50% of them. So here in the U.S., we've completely disbanded most of our semiconductor manufacturing production. It's just about gone. China understands this. Their government is pumping billions of dollars into local chip companies to secure the interests of their country, their infrastructure, and of course, their military. The EU, South Korea, they're doing the same thing. And finally, so is the United States. As Vox writes, the White House is racing to expand chip manufacturing. But here's the issue. It's going to take years. You can't just wave a magic wand and produce more of these chips overnight.
Right. You go back again. I think you mentioned Taiwan. Did you say Taiwan? That's the island that China, as we all know, is threatening to take over at any moment. You're telling us Taiwan produces the majority of the computer chips.
Yes, can you imagine how dangerous this would be to our national security and how difficult life would be if they cut us off, so to speak? Imagine not being able to replace your air conditioning in the middle of summer when it's 100 degrees outside. Imagine your stovetop goes out and you have to microwave your food for 6 months. You go to the hospital and they have no cardiac equipment. This would be a disaster of epic proportions, and not just for the U.S., but for the entire world. Now, I'm not going to say that this will happen, though it could. But even if nothing goes wrong, this shortage we're seeing today, it's not a temporary inconvenience or some kind of passive trend. It might drag on for years, and it will ripple through our economy in surprising ways, catching most people off guard. I know one multimillionaire who's so concerned, he's rented storage space, and he's filling it with items that could become scarce in the weeks ahead. Now, for most people, that's simply not practical, but it's critical that we pay attention. The worst thing that we can do at a time like this is nothing. Get ready for a major tech shock, a deep and unexpected shortage of the modern economy's lifeblood.
Well, I have to tell you, Jeff, I am glad we now understand the root of this crisis, but I'm not sure you're making me better about it at this point. My impression is that it seems like, I'm not sure, we're in big trouble. And it sounds like it can get much worse before it gets any better. Now, a moment ago, you did mention that you actually lived through several chip shortages in the past. You worked at the heart of the chip making world in Asia. I know you were an executive, one of the decision makers at the top two companies that make these chips. So I'm curious, could you share a bit more about what you learned on the inside and please tell us what may happen next?
Well, I did. I lived and worked in Asia for more than 2 decades. I've been to Taiwan and Singapore both more than 100 times, working in the semiconductor industry for companies like Qualcomm and NXP Semiconductors. I also lived in San Diego and worked at the corporate headquarters of Qualcomm as well.
Right, and just for reference out there, those are among the largest chip makers in the entire world today, right?
Well, speaking of Qualcomm, it was ground zero for the previous tech shock back in 1999. Now, what do you think about right away when I say tech in 1999?
First thing is Y2K, second thing is the .com, and the crash that hit right after.
Exactly, and that's what most investors think about when they hear 1999, but not me. Chris, can you picture shares of Amazon, Facebook, or Google collapsing 90%?
That's tough.
Well, it's almost unthinkable, right? But when the last tech shock hit in 1999, that is exactly what happened. Can you remember Motorola?
Motorola, the old cell phone company, right? Yeah.
Right. Most people know Motorola makes cell phones and how they were one of the most prominent tech companies in the world. But back in 1999, cell phones weren't the most important part of Motorola's business. Their bread and butter was actually computer chips, including the G4 chip, which powered Apple's hot computer. At that time, Motorola was in an enviable position. It was the sole supplier of chips from Apple, but then its deal fell through.
It's amazing. We don't talk much about Motorola anymore, do we?
Well, today, according to Forbes, Motorola is a shell of its former self. CNN is more blunt, writing, quote, Motorola is dead. But if that deal with Apple had held, it might be a different story. Every iPhone and iPad today would have been powered by Motorola semiconductor.
Sounds like somebody made a big mistake there. What happened?
Well, back in 1999, a massive chip shortage hit, much like what we're seeing today. And if you paid attention to the headlines, you might have been tricked into believing it was a good thing. Motorola officials said they were thrilled with the overwhelming and positive response.
Well, I would agree. That sounds like it would be good for business. You've got more demand than you can meet. Right?
Well, it's better than selling nothing, that's for sure. But Steve Jobs and the rest of Apple Computer, they were furious. Jobs went so far as to call Motorola's statement crazy. Who can blame him? Apple received about 150,000 orders for their new G4 Mac, but could not build them without the chips from Motorola. And you can guess what happened.
Well, Apple started shopping around.
Precisely, Apple reached out to dozens of other chip suppliers, and slammed the door on Motorola and its investors. Long story short, if you had purchased Motorola stock in 1999 at its peak, before it lost its exclusive deal with Apple, it would have lost nearly every cent over the next year. All because of the chip, all because of the chip.
So, in other words, $10,000 in Motorola stock, when it appeared to be a can't miss opportunity, would have been worth only about $700.
Yes, like I said, investors lost 90% of their money, which brings us to today. This year, the same story is playing out. Only now, the problem is much bigger, more widespread, and far more destructive than what happened to Motorola in 1999. Once again, it will surprise millions of investors, and that is why I call this a shock.
Well, this doesn't sound good.
Well, before you get too worried, keep in mind, Motorola's downfall and the money investors have lost is just one half of the story. The other half is the fortunes that rose from the tech shock. I saw it all happen. Qualcomm not only survived the tech shock of 99, but it thrived. It went on to become a top Apple supplier, and it's still one of the largest chip makers in the world today. Take a look. We bought Qualcomm in 1999. Instead of Motorola, we could have made 30 times the money. Not in 10 years, not in 5 years, but get this, in one single year.
Wow, amazing. So, to recap this, one group of investors lost 90% of their money. Another group makes 30 times their money. Big difference. Why such a big difference? Why so huge?
I've seen it happen over and over again. The same thing happened again in 1988. The news from March of that year read, shortage of memory chips as the industry expanded. Due to a massive shortage, chip prices in America tripled in a matter of months. Assembly lines were slowed, product launches were delayed, consumers suddenly had to pay soaring prices for tech products.
So it does sound like it was another tech shock.
Yes, similar to what we're facing today. And of course, this was the 1980s when tech wasn't such a big part of the market for our lives. But as you can see, the same pattern played out, and the few companies that were ready for this and adapted to it saw tremendous results. And when I say few, I mean it. Only 2 companies in the entire country were still producing the most needed chips by the time this shortage hit. One was Micron Technology. It used to be known by the mainstream press as, I quote, tiny. That's what the New York Times called it. Until its stock went up over 3,700%, thanks in a large part to the 1980s. The other firm is Texas Instruments today, which is worth over $170 billion. Its stock is up over 9,000%.
Okay, I think I'm starting to see a pattern here. There is a huge upside.
Well, I'm not done yet. Let's talk about 1984 and what happened to AMD. Now, today, AMD is the world's second largest maker of computer chips, worth over $100 billion. Its biggest rival is Intel, but back in 1984, it was tiny, just 1% of its current size.
Then, yes, a tech shock rocked the market, changed it.
Right, you're catching on, Chris. In 1984, Intel got, quote, caught off guard by chip demand. The tech world soon found itself in huge trouble. Production of electronics fell, prices soared. Companies were so desperate to secure a new supply of chips, they actually tried to bribe Intel to increase its production. Intel was maxed out. They couldn't produce a single chip more. All hope was lost until AMD, this small company most hadn't heard of before, stepped up and did something remarkable. AMD started, get this, filling Intel's orders for them. Can you imagine? Are you kidding me?
And that'd be like some tiny car maker making Toyotas right now for that giant company.
Chris, it's insane. And it was genius. Because, number one, how could Intel refuse? And number two, AMD was so successful in doing this, Chris. The tech shock of 1984 was over as soon as it started. Before winter hit, the world went back to normal. And today, of course, AMD is a nine-figure company. Do you see what I mean?
Well, yeah, I'm seeing big picture.
This isn't just about some one-off example from 1999. The examples keep going and going. We don't have time to list all of them, but the big takeaway is this. Every time a tech shock hits, it shakes the foundations of the tech world. It rewrites what we think we know. Small companies become big companies become small, and today it's happening again with a twist, because this newest tech shock is bigger and faster, more severe than anything that we have ever seen.
Now, what makes you say that?
Well, first of all, look around this. The signs are everywhere, unlike the 80s and the 90s. Many homes didn't even have a computer in them at all. Computer chips are in just about everything now. In fact, unlike the 80s or 90s, we are all as reliant on them as electricity. They're in our toothbrushes now. And it's not just me saying this. In a 250-page document issued by our federal government on this exact topic, they call computer chips, quote, essential to modern day life. It's easy to see why they say so. Computers and the chips they run on are all over the place. Think about this for a second. You wake up first thing in the morning.
Well, in my case, I make some coffee, check my email,
Chips. With what?
wake up the kids, hop in the car, go to a job, maybe listen to some satellite radio on the way.
Water chips. I don't mean to belabor the point, but just about everything that we do relies on this tiny piece of technology. When you check out a book at the library or download an e-book, or you fire up the TV and watch Netflix, when you pop dinner in the oven or microwave, when you do the laundry or turn on the air conditioning, when we do a FaceTime video call with our grandparents, when we take a simple blood test in the doctor's office, even when we buy a bag of chips from the store or from a vending machine, there's something we keep in mind.
I'm beginning to do that. So even potato chips are powered by computer chips.
DJ Jordan.
It's a beautiful night, what's the boss going to do? Hey baby, I think I wanna marry you.
Nagkakasina na pinagkakay si tatay ng ayudan barangay Ibayuan Tutuan Ibakulit ka sa balay Nagkahay si tatay Tingkatulog na tatay Ginagluyak ang lahay
Don't see it, but like she's swimming. You know, see, but a
Atay na COVID. Sa palay ko dito gusto mamatay kakala biglang ay biglang tama kumakay wala teka ulay mamupulang ka ulay kay anibay papaginsok sa lagay. It's a beautiful night, first of all something young to do. Hey baby, I think I wanna marry you. Naglakot si nanay kay nagtagay si tatay ng ayudan parang kay kipayuan pagtuwan sa balay nagkahay si tatay yung katulog na tatay kinagluyak yung lakay.
Don't see it, but a psycho, a little bit psycho, and like she's swimming. You don't see it, but a psycho.
Atay na COVID.
New Starbucks Toffee Nut Latte for Nescafe Dolce Gusto machines. Available now in supermarkets and online.
Here's to the ones that we got. Cheers to the wish you were here, but you're not. Those drinks bring back all the memories of everything we've been through. Toast to the ones here today. Toast to the ones that we lost on the way. Cause the drinks bring back all the memories. And memories bring back you. Memories bring back you. Memories bring back you. Memories bring back. Drinks bring back all the memories of everything we've been through. Toast to the ones here today. Toast to the ones that we lost on the way, cause the dreams bring back all the memories, and the memories bring back your. Memories bring back your. Memories bring back your. Memories bring back, memories bring back. Everybody hurts sometimes, everybody hurts someday. Everything gon' be alright. Only the person say, here's to the ones that we got. Cheers to the wish you were here, but you're not. Cause the dreams bring back all the memories of everything we keep them. Toast to the ones that today. Toast to the ones that we lost on the way. Cause the dreams bring back all the memories. Memories bring back memories. Memories bring back memories. Bring back memories, bring back memories, bring back memories, bring back memories, bring back. Memories bring back your.
They say, oh my God, I see the way you shine. In my head, the dream places would be mine. You know you stopped me there, but I was passing by. Now I beg to see you dance just one more time. Ooh, I see you every time. When I cry, I style. You make me
this way. Can't get it now, so stay with me. It sounds like we got big plans. Let's drive around town.
Oh, I want something just like this. I want something just like this. Where'd you wanna go? How much you wanna reach? I'm not looking for somebody with some superhero gas, some superhero, some fairy tale bliss, just something I can turn to, somebody I can kiss. I want something just like this. Oh, I want something just like this. Love isn't the best place to find a lover, so the bar is where I go. Just me and my friends at the table doing shots, drinking fast, and then we talk slow. Come over and start up a conversation with just me, and trust me, I'll give it a chance. And now take my hand, stop flipping them in on the jukebox, and then we start to dance. Got me singing like, girl, you know I want your love. Your love was handmade for somebody like me. Come on now, follow my lead. I make it crazy, don't mind me. Say good, let's not talk too much. Grab on my waist and put your body on me. Come on now, follow my lead. Come on now, follow my lead. I'm in love with the shit on you. It's all of the magic. My heart is frozen. I'm in love with your body. Last night you were in my room. Now that she's my body. Already something brand new. I'm in love with your body. One weekend, we let the story begin. We're going out on our first date. But you and me are thrifty, so go all you can eat. Fill up your bag and I fill up a plate. We talk for hours and hours about the sweet and the sour and how your family is doing okay. And leaving you in a taxi and kissing the backseat till the driver make the radio play. Girl, you know I want your love. Your love was handmade for somebody like me. Come on now, follow my lead. I'll make it crazy, don't mind me. Say good, let's not talk too much. Grab on my waist and put your body on me. Come on now, follow my lead. Come on now, follow my lead. I'm in love with the shit on you. You all up in my feet. My heart is frozen. I'm in love with your body. Last night you were in my room. Now that she's mine, I feel like it's be my baby, come on. Come on, be my baby, come on. Come on, be my baby, come on. Come on, be my baby, come on.
New Starbucks Holiday Blend coffee from espresso machines. Available for a limited time in supermarkets and online.
DJ Dance. DJ Dance. DJ Dance. DJ Dance. DJ Dance.
11 sale starts now. Buy one, get one free. Shop now on Mumsheet.
We all know the crazy chaos caused by trying to use more than one app for productivity. There has to be a better way to work. It's time for change. That's why we created ClickUp. ClickUp is an entire productivity platform that keeps all of your work organized in one beautifully intuitive place. Now you can use one app for everything. With ClickUp, plan and create custom views that you can share with anyone. Tasks, calendars, docs, spreadsheets, timelines, goals, mind maps, and you can even embed custom views. It's one app to replace them all. Inbox is a new way to plan your day. Using AI, everyone will know exactly what to work on next, while keeping reminders, events, and scheduled tasks all in sync. When you're ready to take off, ClickUp automatically imports your stuff from any app you're already using. And in the unlikely event that you still need to use other apps, ClickUp integrates with literally thousands of them. ClickUp is now the fastest growing productivity app with over 50,000 teams getting more done every day. Let's make the world more productive together.
إلى أي مدى يمكن للمستقبل أن يبهرنا؟
وكيف يمكننا تحقيق المزيد من الأهداف معا؟
هل نستطيع مواصلة التقدم دون أن نحدث ضررا؟
هل نستطيع الزراعة بأساليب أكثر ابتكارا؟
هل نستطيع أن نتطور ونحافظ على مواردنا الطبيعية؟
هل نستطيع تطوير قدراتنا؟
هل نستطيع تنشئة أبطال الغد؟
هل نستطيع تعزيز مفهوم الابتكار؟
وتوفير تعليم من أي مكان.
هل نستطيع العيش في منازل تلائم نمط حياتنا؟
ومدن تحاكي ذكاؤنا؟
هل نستطيع تحويل التحديات إلى إنجازات؟ معا نستطيع.
Romulus, your city will be finished in just one day.
Finished? My Colosseum, they'll never finish it today.
Unfortunately, we ran out of red wool.
So that's why Rome wasn't built in a day.
New Starbucks Holiday Blend Coffee for Nespresso machines. Available for a limited time in supermarkets and online.
New Starbucks Toffee Nut Latte for Nescafe Dolce Gusto machines. Available now in supermarkets and online.
If you want the best of my heart, you just gotta see the good in me. 'Cause I could be the rain in your desert sky.
Ganda na naman, di ko maiwasan. Higit sa'yong liwanag, nadaramdaman sa'yong ako'y bakit palagi hinahayaan. Nandiyan ka na naman, di ko maiwasan. Higit sa'yong liwanag, nadaramdaman sa'yong ako'y lang masaktan. Di na kailangan may lakad ka mamamaya. Pwede ka bang magkasama sa pagkagala? Kung sakaling di ka pwede sa bagay, meron din akong ginagawa. Siguro nga napapaisip ka, ba't ako nangangamusta? Ilang araw ka na nakukunsa, panaginip ko nag-aalala na ako makasal ka papunta. Pero mabang ayos, ka naman kahit di nakita abalahin ba? Ilang kamanamin pa bang dapat para patago ka mag-alala sa akin? Amang pinapatasya, lamang ilimas ka. Amo sa gabi at pinaka mo sa umaga. Ikaw sa likod ng kolorete, pati na nakaka. Hulugan sa salitang para, iso para sa akin. Bakit kaya kayamanan mo ba yung kinikilala? Ang iyong pagtawa. Kahit nasa puso mo man ay inalusay ni natin ang kasya. Gabi pa kung pinagdamutan ng kapalaran, kaya di na ba sa akin mawala ng pagkasa. Alam mo nga naman baka na naman tawagan mo, alam mo rin ako kapag hindi na kayo mag-asama. Diyan ka na naman, di ko maiwasan. Tumingin sa'yong liwanag, nararamdaman sa'yong apoy. Bakit palagi hinahayaan? Diyan ka na naman, di ko maiwasan. Tumingin sa'yong liwanag, nararamdaman sa'yong apoy. Hanggang masaktan, hindi na kailangan. Diyan ka na naman, di ko maiwasan. Tumingin sa'yong liwanag, nararamdaman sa'yong apoy. Bakit palagi hinahayaan? Diyan ka na naman, di ko maiwasan. Tumingin sa'yong liwanag, nararamdaman sa'yong apoy. Hanggang masaktan, hindi na kailangan.
إلى أي مدى يمكن للمستقبل أن يظهر؟
وكيف يمكننا تحقيق المزيد من الأهداف معا؟
هل نستطيع مواصلة التقدم دون أن نحدث ضررا؟
هل نستطيع الزراعة بأساليب أكثر ابتكارا؟
هل نستطيع أن نتطور ونحافظ على مواردنا الطبيعية؟
هل نستطيع تطوير قدراتنا؟ هل نستطيع تنشئة أبطال الغد؟
هل نستطيع تعزيز مفهوم الابتكار؟
وتوفير تعليم من أي مكان.
هل نستطيع العيش في منازل تلائم نمط حياتنا؟
ومدن تحاكي ذكاؤنا؟
هل نستطيع تحويل التحديات إلى إنجازات؟ معا نستطيع.
حمل واطلب الآن.
when you call me señorita. I wish I could pretend I didn't need ya, but every touch is ooh la la la. It's true la la la. Oh, I should be running. Oh, you keep me coming. But my honey, the air was actually arms. Don't know me. Before I need a romance.
New Starbucks Toffee Nut Latte for Nescafe Dolce Gusto machines. Available now in supermarkets and online.
Ko'y sa'yo, ikaw ang akin. Ganda mo sa paningin. Kung ngayon'y nag-iisa, sana ay dabihan na. Sa ilalim ng puting ilaw, sa dilag na buwan, pakinggan mo ang aking sigaw. Sa dilag na buwan, dapat sa'yo. Nakakasama hanggang sa pagtanda. Halina tayo'y bigla. Sa ilalim ng puting ilaw, sa dilaw na buwan, pakinggan mo ang aking sigaw. Sa dilaw na buwan,
soaring prices, mask shortages. What's next? Hi, I'm Chris Hurt here, and if you're like most people, you may have noticed some strange things popping up in the news. Because once again, the word crisis is being thrown around. Yet, this is unlike anything we've seen. Major automakers from GM to Toyota are shutting down their factories. Analysts are warning that Christmas, as we know it, may not happen this year.
This is the mix of DJ Fundax. This is the mix of DJ Fundax.
ikaw masayo, paminaw mo. Kung pananglit, iyan mo, matapaumbaw, sabi ko. Kung galing, kang mubya, ikaw kaungan, walong mga rumang kaigaw. Kung hindi maya, ang luhong ko matakaro ko po niya. Ika, ituliw na, ang pinagda. Itilugan sana sa kanilang nahanap. Ang ibig na daw, ugahayan, inumanahuay, nalayo pa sa akong mangyatay, hindi pa minahuan, gustong umma, nakati mo ako umigasa, dili ko magpahatagan, tanang mahandi, nigaliputan, napatintay, ngabinaw.
Techno Mix Club. Techno Mix Club.
Lang kangiti, matitiugan sana sa kanilang nahanap. Ang ibig na daw, ugahayan, inumanahuay, nalayo pa sa akong mangyatay, hindi pa minahuan, gustong umma, nakati mo ako umigasa, dili
This is DJ Whiskey Medical Remix.
Sa classroom may batas. Bawal lumabas o bawal lumabas. Pero pag sinabing pag nag-comply ka, ginawa ka, pinagbabawal nila, inayos mo yung law ng classroom nyo.
نحن نبدع جمالا لا يقتصر فقط على الجمال.
Ay, pwede na pala ikaw lumabas.
Hi there, I'm Claudia. So you're looking for some shipping help? With Twill, it takes just a
Kung hindi mo rin ako sasagutin, pwede bang sa'yo wag mo na akong papuntahin? Kung sistema natin ay ganun pa din, at least alam ko na kung anong dapat kong gawin. Para hindi na ako babahe, sayang pamasahe, pati ang tsokolate sa'yo. Sa dami-dami mong sinabi, mahabang pasang kalye, aasa lang pala ko sa'yo. Kaya sana di na lang nagsulat ng love letter sa'yo. Mag-aantay na lang, makakahanap din ng much better kaysa sa'yo. May nakita kong isang babae, di ko malimutan ang kanyang imahe. Ano ba ang iyong pangalan noong nakita kita? Ako'y di mapakali, gustong mahawakan ng iyong mga kamay. Hanggang ngayon hindi mapaligay, sana ikaw ay makasabay. At nang malaman ko ang pangalan mo, At nang ikaw ay makilala ko, baby, huwag ka na mag-aalilangan pa. Alam mo naman talaga nagkailangan ka. Tulad mo'y matagal kong hinahanap pa. Gusto kong makita gusto kong makita baby, pauwi na ako. Ako'y pauwi na, baby, pauwi na ako. Miss na kita, baby, pauwi na ako. Ako'y pauwi na, hindi ka na malulungkot. Malapit na ako, baby, pauwi na ako. Kita sa mga mata mo na nalulungkot ka, kaya gumawa na ako na paraan upang mabawi ang kalungkutan. Kasi naman, lagi kong nakakaganyan. Ayoko naman na ikaw ay masaktan. Ramdam ko ang pakiramdam na nahihirapan, kaya naman ayoko nang iparamdam sa iyo. Malapit na ako, konting oras na lang ay magsasama na tayo. Malapit na ako, dyan sa tabi mo. Kunting tiis na lang, mahal, mawawala na ang iyong miss na kita, baby, hindi ko na kaya. Sobrang saya ko na muli tayong magsasama. Pangako na hindi ka na maghihintay at hindi ka na malulungkot. Malapit na ako, baby, pauwi na ako. Kung hindi mo rin ako sasagutin, miss na ay nakita kong isang babae. Dagang Pilipina, dagang Pilipina, dagang Pilipina, baby, pauwi na ako. Dagang Pilipina, dagang Pilipina, dagang Pilipina, baby, pauwi na ako.
Kapag naalala ko ang mga araw kasama tayong dalawa, hindi ito sa aking mga mata. Ganun na pala tayo dati kasi hindi kong kapag tayo nagkatitigan, mag-initi ang para bang nahihibang. Iingay kahit sobrang tahimik na kapaligiran. Kahit may nagre-reklamo na'y wala tayong pakialam. Parang nandun ka pa, laging pumupunta. Di naasang may sorpresa na laging dala. Ang saya-saya, ayoko ng pahalata. Kasi okay na naman ako basta makasama ka. Kasi lang wala nga, pero alam ko na masaya ka na. Sa mundo ko wala nang makakagawa. Makakatumas ng iyong napadama. Kaya salamat sa pag-ibig mo. Ibig mo lagi kang nasa puso't isip ko. Isip ko at inaamin ko na namimiss kita. Na namimiss kita. Sa akin ikaw pa rin ang baby ko. Baby ko kahit wala ka na sa piling ko. Piling ko kung ipagdasal pa rin kita. Ipagdasal pa rin kita. Ako'y alam na sa'yo. Sa mata'y punasan mo. Ayokong nakikita kang umiiyak. Loob mo ay tibayan mo. Kasamang dalawa. Gusto ko ay palagi kang masaya. Salamat sa lahat. Hanggang dito na lang. Pero tanggap na wala ka na. Sa panaginip ko'y palagi kang nandun at tayo'y magkasama. Babalikan ang mga nagdaan sa atin dahil di ako sanay. Ayaw kitang pilitin kung di ka pa handa. Sa susunod na lang, sa susunod na lang. Ayaw kang napipitin, kaya mabuti pang ako'y uuwi na lang. Sa susunod na lang. Dahan-dahan mo bitawan puso ko. Di makalaban, lagi na isip kung ano, masaya ka naman. Dahil ako'y nahihirapan pa at matanggap na may mahal ka ng iba. At ngayon, lagi na di makalimutan ang nangyari. Kaya salamat sa pag-ibig mo. Pag-ibig ko lagi kanta sa puso't isip ko. Isip ko, di na agad ko nadaming kita. Nadaming kita. Sakit ikaw pa rin ang baby ko. Baby ko, bakit wala ka na sa piling ko? Piling ko, bakit ipagdali sa balik kita? Ipagdali sa balik kita.
Kapag panahon ng tag-ulan, masarap mag-chill, mag-reminisce at bumunganga habang nakikinig sa napakalamig na boses ng dalawang bisita natin ngayon. Kaya naman, please welcome Moira De La Torre and Kay Carl.
You can always to me. I will simplify. Please don't roll, 'cause I'm not complaining. What you see. Why can't it be? Why can't it be the two of us? Why can't we be lovers? Only the ways you can go inside.
Hawakan na iyong mga kamay. Sana ay maabot ng langit ang iyong mga ngiti. Sana ay masingin. Huwag ka mag-alala. Di ko ipipilit sa'yo kahit narinig pa ang isip ko'y daranda sa'yo. Torete, torete, torete ako. Torete, torete, torete sa'yo. Torete, torete, torete ako.
Hello everyone, ako po si Sam Hubat. I am June Sisa. And this is our mashup cover of Much Better, Dalaga at Pauwi na Ako. Sana po magustuhan niyo. Kung hindi mo rin ako sasagutin, pwede bang sa inyo huwag mo na akong papuntahin? Kung sistema natin ay ganun pa din, at least alam ko na kung anong dapat kong buwin. Para hindi na ako bayahe, sayang pamasahe, pati ang tsokolate sa'yo. Sa dami-dami mong sinabi, mahabang pa sa kalye, aasa lang pala ko sa'yo. Kaya sana di na lang nagsulat ng love letter sa'yo. Pag-aantay na lang, makakahanap din ng much better kaysa sa'yo. May nakita kong isang babae, di ko malimutan ang kanyang imahe. Ano ba ang iyong pangalan noong nakita kita? Ako'y di mapakali, gustong mahawakan ng iyong mga kamay. Hanggang ngayon hindi mapaligay, sana ikaw ay makasabay. At nang malaman ko ang pangalan mo, at nang ikaw ay makilala ko, baby, huwag ka na mag-alilangan pa. Alam mo naman talaga na kailangan ka. Tuhan mo'y ay matagal kong hinahanap at gusto kong makita gusto kong makita Baby, pauwi na ako. Ako'y pauwi na. Baby, pauwi na ako. Next na kita. Baby, pauwi na ako. Ako'y pauwi na. Hindi ka na malulungkot. Malapit na ako, baby, pauwi na ako. Nakita sa mga mata mo na nalulungkot ka, kaya gumawa na ako ng paraan upang mabawi ang kalungkutan. Kasi naman, lagi mo nagkakaganyan. Ayoko naman na ikaw ay masaktan. Ramdam ko ang pakiramdam na nahihirapan, kaya naman ayoko nang iparamdam sa iyo. Malapit na ako, konting oras na lang ay magsasama na tayo. Malapit na ako, dyan sa tabi mo. Kunting tiis na lang, mahal, mawawala na ang iyong Miss na kita, baby, hindi ko na kaya. Sobrang saya ko na muli tayong magsasama. Pangako na hindi ka na maghihintay at hindi ka na malulungkot. Malapit na ako, baby, pauwi na ako. Kung hindi mo rin ako sasagutin, mas na tayo. Nakita kong isang babae, taga Pilipina, yeah. Taga Pilipina, baby, pauwi na ako. Taga Pilipina, yeah. Taga Pilipina, yeah. Taga Pilipina, baby, pauwi na ako.